Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Saturday Night Parrot Talk. I am your Shadow Zone host, the ghost host, the host with the most, Brian James. And unfortunately, I'm flying solo tonight, which is okay because I've got this under lock and key. I would also like to apologize for last night's podcast. I gave out the wrong promo code. We are sponsored by D's Ghost. He makes his own equipment. His name is Jesse. He is a phenomenal guy and is great at what he does. So if you go and buy equipment from him and use Global EQ, that will give you 10% off of your first purchase. TM is for team members. So you will get 15 or 10% off your first purchase. And also, if you're on Facebook and you're tired of being a paranormal person on Facebook because of all the drama and all the negativity, then go find Parapost Network, ran by Brian Laverty. This is a Facebook-like place, no drama, none of that, and is made specifically for the paranormal world. You can find him by downloading the app from the App Store. It'll run on Android, it'll run on Apple, it'll run on your computer, or you can also look it up by searching parapost.net. Tonight we have a fantastic show. We have one of my best friends, one of my brothers from previous engagements. His name is Charles Howard Johnson. This man is one hell of a paranormal investigator. He's a Bigfoot enthusiast. He's a UFO enthusiast. And he is just a fabulous person all around from Louisville, Kentucky. Yeah, I'm getting antsy. I'm tired of waiting. So I'm going to bring the beast out of his cage, Mr. Charles Howard Johnson.
Hello there.
Hello, brother. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you tonight?
I am doing very well, thank you. It's been kind of a strenuous day, but I made it.
Exactly. That's good to see.
Yes, sir. So how you been?
Pretty good. I mean, we've all had a rough year with COVID and the stress of that, and between work and COVID and life, it's been a busy year.
I hear you. That COVID has knocked so much out. It's unbelievable.
Definitely. And not only health wise, but investigation wise, it's taken a big toll.
It really has. It's shut down so many teams that I've talked to lately, and it's just a shame.
It really is. I keep hoping and praying things get back to normal, but who knows?
I feel that in the future, things will get back to normal.
Well, let's certainly hope so.
Yeah, I gotta say that's a nice beard you're growing, sir.
Well, thank you. A little too much gray, but I'm working on it.
Hey, we just call that seasoning around these parts.
I like it.
Little salt and pepper, if you will. So, Charles, this is your first time on Shadow Zone. I've had you on a Spokane Ghost Talk. So please tell the audience all about yourself, brother.
Well, like you said, I was born in Louisville, Kentucky, raised in the hills of Kentucky, I guess. That's where my love of the paranormal and supernatural was born. A lot of fascinating ghost lore in Kentucky, and I owe Kentucky that. Definitely, that's where my interest was born. And then when I got to Washington, that's where I really started to pursue my love of the paranormal. And it couldn't be in a better spot for Bigfoot research. And it's just become a passion. All anything unexplained, UFOs, Bigfoot, paranormal, just I love it all.
So let's start with Kentucky. I mean, how old were you when you first got into the paranormal?
So let me take you back from the computer age, and if you or any of our audience remembers the Dewey Decimal System in the library, my favorite section was 133 point whatever. That was the occult mysterious section, and I still remember that to this day. I remember reading all the local ghost stories, all the local UFO stories, and all the Bigfoot stories. So from a young age, I remember the show In Search Of. I grew up on that. My dad used to love to watch the shows with me, and my brothers shared the passion. So it's been a lifelong interest and passion.
Very nice. So what kind of folklore and things are down in Kentucky?
Well, lots of ghost stories. Some places the ghosts are called haints. Especially you get out away from the cities, the country, ghost lore is very strong and very prevalent. A lot of ghost lore is attached to cemeteries and battlefields, and it's really rich. A lot of frontier ghost stories.
Very nice. So, I mean, back when you were younger, the paranormal was kind of taboo.
Exactly.
Did you yourself, as a youngster, ever go out and do any investigating or any poking around or anything like that?
Back then it was mostly just reading the library books or watching the TV shows. I didn't know anything about things like EVPs or any of the technology we have today or any of the equipment. It was mostly just seeing the programs and reading the books, and maybe talking to people that had some experiences with the paranormal.
Okay. So, about what age would you say you decided to go, forget it. I've watched the shows, I've read the books. I want to go and see if it's true.
I have to credit the show Ghost Adventures for really kind of pushing me over the edge and just making me want to find my personal answers. I used to watch the show with my dad and my brother, and finally I said, enough watching. I'm going to go find my own personal answers. So that was later in life. So I've only been doing this seriously for about maybe 10 years or so.
Very nice. And what got you started? What was your first piece of equipment and your first place you ever did?
It was just a cemetery. I had a regular digital recorder. I don't think I even got anything, but that was my first attempt at trying to get some results from an EVP session. I don't think I even knew what EVP stood for back then.
So, did you Did you have any results from that first experience?
I did not. Nothing um, paranormal. No, it was just going. I guess it was good in learning to do the proper steps. Like anything, practice makes perfect. So
Exactly.
just the exercise of going out there, starting a recording, asking questions, and then listening uh, for possible results. That was a good beginning, anyway.
Oh, absolutely. And when was it that you first captured that EVP, your first EVP, or any evidence?
So early on, when I got here in Spokane, probably the thing that really sticks out is we. I was investigating with some others, and we were doing an apartment in Brown's Addition, and the couple that was there, they invited us to investigate, and they would leave. But before they left, they said, make sure you watch the closet door. Something opens it. Well, I mean, I'd never experienced anything like that. So you take things with a grain of salt. And you said,
Right.
okay, all right. But to yourself, you're saying, okay, whatever. So when they shut the door, as soon as we set our equipment cases down, the closet door opened right in front of me all the way, and the room was filled with a cold energy. So that was pretty awesome. We
That.
shut we
Oh,
shut the
go ahead.
door and we shut the door and tried to recreate walking up and down the hallway, see if our weight would cause the door to open, but nothing.
That had to have been an awesome yet kind of terrifying feeling in a way.
It was very shocking and exciting, all in the same thing.
Man.
And
So
I'll
you
I'll
you
never
guys,
forget that.
I bet not. Yeah, that's kind of like my first experience when I was little. Laying in bed and watching the closet door open and them glowing red eyes just staring a hole through me.
Yeah, you never forget things like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like a scar, but in a good way.
Right, right.
So you're into the paranormal, but you're also into Bigfoot and UFOs. So if it's
Correct,
okay with
correct.
you, I would like to switch gears a little here.
Well,
And oh, go ahead.
sometimes all these different categories they blend together. There's quite a few times when there's strange things happening around Bigfoot sightings, balls of light, and uh, tracks stopping when they should continue. There's some pretty weird things going on with Bigfoot too.
Well, my question is with that statement, do you believe in your personal opinion that Bigfoot could possibly have maybe part alien or some sort of understanding or cahoots with the alien race?
I'm kind of open to the possibility. When I first started learning about this, uh, I fully believed it was just a flesh and blood animal. But
Right, right.
now, I've read so many accounts of strange things happening that I'm open to the possibility. I won't say directly, but a lot of my friends have had weird encounters, and you start doing more and more research, things get very, very strange.
Oh yeah, I mean, you get a Bigfoot which is said to be between 7 and 12 feet. You get giant footprints, and then all of a sudden they just disappear without a trace. I
Right.
mean, I know the thing could probably jump a good probably 10, 12 feet, but I mean, you go 10, 12 feet north, south, east, and west, and there's nothing there. Where the heck did the Bigfoot go?
So skeptics will say, well, there's no such thing as Bigfoot. Nobody's ever found a body. And that's a great point. But if you bring in the paranormal, perhaps portals, that kind of answers that question. I'm not saying that is the answer, but it's a possibility, I think.
And, that's a great theory too. Because I mean, you, you're not going to get away from somebody being 7 to 12 feet tall, and just 1 minute you're there, the next minute you're gone.
Right.
There's just no theoretical way possible for something that large to just vanish.
Exactly.
There has
So
got to be some sort of portal or some sort of agreement with extraterrestrial life that they
and
work together.
I think that's possible. Another possibility is they bury their dead. I just don't know, but I do know that a lot of my friends, and I've read personally a lot of strange encounters. Like I said, balls of light, the tracks that just end like they might have stepped into a portal or something. You've got to start looking at those possibilities.
Well, yeah, I mean, you definitely have to start thinking outside of the box, especially when you're talking about Bigfoot and ETs.
Right. And if you start doing research, you will find a great percentage of UFO sightings happen around a Bigfoot sighting or balls of light. I mean, if you get past the actual Bigfoot sighting, lots of strange and mysterious things are around that sighting.
And I haven't done a lot of research about that, so that actually strikes me as very fascinating, actually.
Yeah. And I mean, uh, personally, I've learned that there seems to be like two different camps in the Bigfoot research. The flesh and blood that believe it's just an animal. Then what they call the woohoo camp, where it's a little bit of paranormal, if not a lot. Um, in the paranormal camp, you have that some people believe that Sasquatch has the ability to mind speak, where almost like a form of telepathy, and a lot of strange things happen.
Well, and here's my thing. I mean, people think Bigfoot is an animal. And, I could see a bear standing what, maybe 8, 9 feet on its hind legs.
Right.
But you get something that's 12 foot tall. You can visibly see it has hands and feet, and it's hairy from head to toe. I mean, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get an animal in the forest that damn big.
Yeah. I mean, there you start looking at the differences between a bear and Sasquatch, Bigfoot. There's a bear can walk on its hind legs, but not very steadily and not very far. So the physical gait is completely different.
Absolutely. My question for you is about the Bigfoot. Have you or anybody that you're close to ever had an encounter, a sighting, or anything like that?
At least for now, I personally have not. That's one of my goals. But I have a lot of close friends that have um, a lot of encounters, whether it's personal seeing them or smelling them or hearing them. Um, Yeah, I have a lot of friends that have had many experiences.
So, what exactly does a Bigfoot smell like?
Traditionally, you would smell like a wet dog, maybe mixed with garbage. Just a really foul, rotten smell.
Like a bear.
Okay.
Like a bear, Bubba.
Okay.
Yeah, but bears can't walk steadily.
No, I mean,
So,
like smell.
Have you and your friends ever thought about, going into the woods for a couple nights and actually going and trying to hunt down a Bigfoot?
Personally, I'm against like killing or
Oh,
hurting.
no.
But as far as trying to establish communication, yeah, I would like to do that soon.
Sorry, I used the wrong word. I didn't mean, hunting.
No.
I meant actually searching for
Right.
Bigfoot. My apologies.
Definitely. That's one of my goals is to hopefully start doing soon. There's a lot of activity from what I've read up in Colville, around the Colville area. So we're not too far from some activity.
Yeah, Colville is only about 30, 45-minute drive up north.
Yeah, it's not far. I
And
mean,
they have the abandoned radar station out in Colville as well.
right.
So that would be an interesting, ghost hunt and search for Bigfoot.
Now, what the connection is, who knows? But you do a little research at sightings. There's some connection between Sasquatch and cemeteries. I don't know what it is, but there is data showing a link between those two.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's because the cemeteries are quiet usually and maybe deserted. I don't know, or if there's some type of energy going off that they're attracted to. There's a lot of questions.
Now, would that be like a regular cemetery or more of a native cemetery, you think? Or what's your opinion on that?
I would say just any cemetery that was not like in the city or more in the maybe a family cemetery or a private cemetery or a cemetery that wasn't near a lot of activity.
Okay.
But again, I don't know what the connection is, but the percentage of sightings of Sasquatch near or in a cemetery is fairly high.
So it it makes me wonder if, if you go out searching for Bigfoot with a couple of friends, I would be fascinated to go with you. And maybe we could find a cemetery out in the woods.
Right.
And get some trail cams that have the sound recording capability.
Right.
And plaster, 8 or 10 of them up around the cemetery just to see what we could capture.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. A lot of researchers will use what they call tree knocking. They'll have a stick and hit the tree 2 or 3 times. It's believed that Sasquatch uses the tree knocking as a form of communication between themselves. So that's a pretty interesting theory and route to investigate.
An axe handle is what I hear works best. Is just a good old-fashioned solid axe handle.
Yeah, a nice piece of solid wood, a baseball bat or whatever. But when you hit it twice or 3 times, and a lot of people have gotten some good results.
I'm telling you what, I hear a big old growl, I'm going to be a little freaked out.
Definitely. It's pretty humbling to think that if they wanted to, they could rip your head off easily.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you get something 12 foot tall. They probably have hands like the size of our heads.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Now, I hear they're not really partial to meat as much as they are to fruits and vegetables.
As I've heard, they eat like deer, but you're right. They do eat, from what I hear, fruit, vegetables. I guess a lot of people will gift with fruit. Gifting is the idea that if you leave the Sasquatch a gift, they will return the favor, leaving a rock or whatever. So
That
their
would be
diet,
cool.
yeah, I've heard their diet includes pretty much fruits, vegetables, maybe some meat.
Well, it sounds like the first place to start would be to go up to Colville and actually go into town and see how many people we could interview.
Yeah, that's probably a great idea. All up through Stevens County, there's a lot of activity, I think.
It makes me wonder because Colville is reservation land, and it really makes me wonder if there is a spiritual connection between the Native Americans and the Bigfoot himself.
I think there might be. They've known about him and believed in him for hundreds of years, if not thousands, and they've always known that he's been there. And I think that their stories and legends are a good piece of evidence. I mean, they don't just make these stories up. All the different tribes have their own form of the wild man or Bigfoot. They might name it something different, but basically, it's the same concept.
So what do they call a Bigfoot in Kentucky? Does he have a nickname or a different name besides Bigfoot, like the Ohio Grassman? Or
Yeah, the in Ohio it's the grass man. In Kentucky, you hear Bigfoot a lot. You hear wood booger and some of the hills. Sometimes even the idea of the boogeyman will kind of creep into the Bigfoot world.
A wood booger, huh?
Wood booger.
That is new. I have to say.
That's one of my personal favorites because that's where I'm from. So back in the hills, that's used sometimes.
I could see the natives coming up to us in Colville. What y'all doing? We're looking for wood boogers.
Perfect.
I love it. Absolutely love it. So, what got you in to the extraterrestrial and the UFOs?
Again, just I would have to blame the books, the TV programs. Now that I'm older, I found out that there's a very famous UFO abduction case that happened on a road that I travel every day back when I was younger. So it's called the Stanford UFO abductions.
Oh, wow.
And 3 ladies were coming home from some dinner program or function, and they had the classic light in the sky, missing time, and as far as I remember, all 3 of them ended up dying from radiation poisoning.
Now, could that be from spirits, or could that be from spirits?
I would say it was either military or UFO of some type. Would be my guess.
They definitely ran across something they shouldn't have.
And if the audience is interested, all you have to do is go to YouTube and type in Stanford, Kentucky UFO abductions, and the local news did a story on it, so it should pop up for you.
Nice. And Forget Me Not Paranormal says, love it, cool term. Yeah. Wood boogers.
Definitely t-shirt material.
Yeah. I am making us that for Christmas next year, dude. We could call our team Wood Boogers United.
I like it.
So, yeah, that's a term for Bigfoot. In Kentucky is a wood booger.
You know what it sounds, you know what that reminds me of?
So,
Termites.
Have you ever had an experience or a sighting of any kind in the extraterrestrial realm?
I have seen lights that I can't explain. Of course, your mind likes to jump to that conclusion, and I can't rule that out. But these lights were doing maneuvers that, as far as I know, our technology can't do.
Absolutely.
They would stop in midair. They would hover, make right angle turns, and they were just like balls of light. And who knows? It might be military technology that they got from an alien crash. It could have been alien ships themselves. I don't know.
Now, was that viewing here in Spokane, or where was that viewing at?
That was in Kentucky.
Kentucky, very nice. You know where I'm headed to at the end of the summer, because I'm moving the family down to Arizona. There is a lot of UFO sightings in Arizona.
Oh, I'm sure it's a hotbed. You should have plenty of stuff to work on down there.
Oh, yeah, and you got to think, too, it's right next to Nevada, which is Area 51.
Right.
And the one thing I love is how much more open the U.S. is getting about the UFOs.
Yes, and I think it's just the start. Personally, I believe there's so much going on that we have yet to know about. It's just the beginning.
Oh, absolutely. So, hopping back to paranormal, what was your best piece of evidence that you've ever captured?
Oh my. Probably I'm fascinated by ITC work, EVP, or spirit communication.
Right.
Right now, I'm obsessed with spirit box, spirit communication through radios and apps, and just that's my focus right now. So I would say either some of the EVPs I've captured or some of the responses I've gotten through a spirit box.
Okay.
But that's not to say that things like the SLS aren't fascinating or
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that I've seen and experienced over the years that it's hard to say this is my absolutely favorite.
Right.
Even the simple flashlight method is fascinating.
Good Lord, you are known for your flashlight.
Still fascinated by it, and I still use it.
And I'll still pick on you to this day about it.
You should see my collection now.
Forget Me Not says that's awesome. I agree. Both Arizona and Nevada are hotspots for amazing paranormal activity. Lucky Brian. I don't know about that. I'm a fat guy about ready to step into 120-degree weather. I'm going to bake like a Thanksgiving turkey. So, Charles, I'd have to say one of my favorite pieces of evidence was actually something that you captured that I was a part of.
Okay.
The setting was St. Ignatius,
One of our favorite spots.
and you were talking to my sister about how you thought the big shadow figure was following me. And all of a sudden, you picked up something at the end of the hallway that you thought was me. And you called my name, and I came popping out of the room and walking towards you. And that figure stood up and started coming at you guys as well.
I remember that.
That was probably one of my favorite pieces of evidence.
I've got to say, St. Ignatius holds a special place in our hearts. It's an awesome place.
Most definite. And I mean, me and you, bud, we go way back.
Yes.
I mean, we've been investigating together a couple of years. You know, we never had a fallout. You
Nope.
decided to go your way, we decided to go our way. You know, but
We-
that bond and that brotherhood has always been there with us.
We've done a lot of good investigations together, a lot of good residential,
Absolutely.
Minnehaha, St. Ignatius,
The Garland Theater,
right?
the steam plant.
Yep. We've done a lot.
We even got ourselves in the Inlander, if you remember that, at what was that bar's name down on Sprague?
Oh, Checkerboard.
Checkerboard, that's right. Remember
Yeah.
the haunted jukebox.
Right. It's reopened. It's under new owners now. I think it's
Yeah. Ian ended up losing the bar to his wife. And if I remember right, his wife sold it to somebody else.
Ah.
But I would definitely like to get back with you, and just for the hell of it, go out on a couple of investigations just for old times.
Exactly. We'll have to do a few things.
Most definite. And for everybody that don't know what the flashlight trick is, this is actually amazing to watch him do this. Can you explain what it is, Charles?
Okay, so it's pretty simple concept. You use a mini mag light as a yes/no testing tool. So you twist the head of the mini mag light to where it's just barely off, and the theory is that the spirits will use the energy to turn the light on. Then you ask, if you're here with me, can you please turn the flashlight on? And a lot of times you will get a response.
Now,
So
if you get that response, what do you say afterwards?
Well, I mean, you always want to be respectful, but you ask, some people prefer to turn the light off and just have the spirit supposedly turn on the flashlight for a yes. Other people will say, okay, you're here with me. If you're male, can you turn the flashlight off? So there's different methods, and it's really just your personal preference. But I like it as a yes no type indicator.
Absolutely. And I swear, guys, it never gets old. Every time that light would turn on or off, you would get Charles saying, well, thank you. And
That's me.
I absolutely love investigating with you, Charles. I love your theories on paranormal and on Bigfoot and, the aliens. There's never a dull conversation with you, sir.
It is my passion. I want answers. I want to understand.
Absolutely. So with the paranormal, do you have any fascinating stories about the paranormal in general?
Like I said earlier, right now my obsession is ITC work, and that's basically just using any instrument to theoretically communicate with the other side, whether it be a flashlight or a ghost box or the taboo apps that you hear a lot about. Let me preface that by saying a lot of the apps are for entertainment purposes only, but there are some I personally feel that are for serious research, and I like to experiment with them. I think there might be some relevant and useful tools there, but anyway, uh, the whole concept of communicating with the other side is taking leaps and bounds with technology. And I think eventually it's going to be proven that it's maybe another realm of existence after you pass away. Maybe the idea of alternate universes or whatever. But my passion right now is the spirit box um, and some of the apps.
Well, what kind of apps do you feel are relevant for ghost hunting? Because there are a lot of people out there that will say any app that you download for paranormal investigating is 100% complete garbage.
Right. I catch a lot of flack for even dabbling with the apps, but I really find the necrophonic app pretty fascinating.
Now,
There's one.
what is a necrophonic app?
That's the name of the app. You can find it on the Google Store. It's called Necrophonic. I think there's a free version. Then there's a pro version, but
Okay.
it's called Necrophonic. I think it's made by Chiller's company. There's also the Miracle Box by Steve Huff. It's pretty interesting. And then there's a couple other ones, but right now it's basically Necrophonic and the Miracle Box.
Okay. Forget Me Not says that's really great to hear about your positive outlook on the apps. Spirit communication is what we love the best. Having conversations with them through the easiest means possible. Yes, Necrophonic is amazing. The responses are pretty wild and pretty amazing.
Yeah, I've gotten some really, really fascinating answers. But that's also to go along with the spirit box, where it's the radio that scans through the radio signals.
Yeah.
It's just utterly fascinating, and I think the more research advances, that we're going to get more and more information on what death is, and there is life after death, and
Oh, you see, like Brian. Oh my gosh, I'm getting my names confused here. Jesse from D's Ghost. He is actually making a spirit box to where there's no sound to it, but it's still going through the radio waves.
nice.
And the only thing that comes out is the actual spirit voice.
That would be incredible.
So if you or Forget Me Not Paranormal or anybody else is looking for new equipment and you drop the promo code Global EQ, you will get 10% off your first purchase. And this guy can pretty much do whatever you desire. This guy
I'm
is amazing.
I'm excited about the future of technology. There's advances every single day, it seems like. So we've come a long ways from the old Ouija board.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So my question to you is about the apps. Aren't you worried that the apps may be preloaded and just by coincidence happen to say what you're looking for? Or do you believe that the spirits can actually communicate through the phone like they could a spirit box and their actual real connections?
So you definitely have to do your research. Like I said, most of the apps are just pre-programmed, like you said, and they're for entertainment. But when you start using the app, you kind of learn the ones that are just for entertainment and the ones that are uh, maybe more for research. I've gotten some fascinating responses. Um, like if you ask how many spirits are with me right now, and the answer is 7, I think that's pretty significant that a number would be stated instead of say a name.
Absolutely. I mean, my thing is if somebody has, we'll say the necrophonic app, and like you just stated, if they ask how many ghosts are in here and there's 7 of them in there and it says 7, then that's pretty significant to me that the app is actually worth using.
Now, it's like a lot of things in the paranormal, it's very controversial. You got a lot of people think it's all pre-programmed and it uses the mic on your phone to gain information. And
Absolutely.
so I mean, I try to just use it as research, uh, as a learning experience. Um, if I had to choose between the two, I would choose the spirit box. But I think apps do have a place in research.
I think you're right on that one, sir. I definitely think you're right. Forgive Me Not says we are starting to use the spirit box with the apps. They work really well in tandem. The Paranormal Night Crawler Global EQ, buddy. That's right. That's the code Global EQ at D's Ghosts for 10% off your first order. Forget Me Not says definitely want to check that out. It's hard to always make out the voices with all the static. Thanks, Brian. You're
Just
very welcome.
one tip when you're doing a ghost box session or with an app, record it. I've found that to be, I can never really get a good answer just the first experience or the live experience. But when you have it on recording, you can go back and listen and edit the background noise and everything. So that's just a little tip I've found that really helps.
Very nice. Forget Me Not also says, I agree, Charles. You can tell which ones are worthless and which ones are actually connecting to the spirit world. And I think I'm 50-50 with apps. I mean, the Ghost Radar, my children absolutely love it. They play games in the living room with it.
Right.
But I don't think I'm going to let my daughter mess with the necrophonic or anything like that. Just in case they do happen to come in communication with something, I would prefer to be there for that one.
Well, for sure.
So, do you think that there are any tools that that might be coming out or that are out right now that can help with connecting with Bigfoot, you think?
That's a good question. Just getting out in the field, the old-fashioned getting out in the field, what I talked about earlier, gifting, presenting a gift in friendship. It's suggested you don't take firearms, that they can tell that if you're armed or not. And the wood knocking, there's this, I recommend these recordings. It's called the Sierra Sounds by Ron Moorhead. I think it was recorded in the 70s. A bunch of Bigfoot were recorded in his camp over a period of time. And from that, it's believed that they do have a language. So that's pretty interesting to start piping into the air. You don't know what they're saying, but you might get a response that way. But as far as they seem to be able to tell when you use game cams. I don't know if they can see the IR or not, but you don't see a lot of results with those. It's like they're able to detect that they're there.
Well, heaven forbid if that language tells one of the Bigfoots that their mother was a hamster.
That's why I'm taking you.
Oh, sure. Take the Yeti and to find a Bigfoot. That's great, Charles. Forget Me Not says, we have had an experience where the app was giving names and other details that were completely verifiable outside of a funeral home. It was spot on.
I've had that happen. Again, your skeptics will say that the microphone is somehow able to gain if you were talking about it beforehand, but I think it's a good tool to use anyway.
Absolutely. And that's two people that have had personal experiences. And guys, don't let the naysayers bring you guys down. I mean, if something's working for you and you feel in your heart, your head, and your stomach, they all align and say they're working, then I say keep up the good work. Do what you do. Make sure you get it recorded. And just rock on.
My advice is try it for yourself. Make your own decision.
Exactly. You'll never know if it's going to work unless you yourself are there to try it out.
Hey, Brian, I'm down to 3%. I'm going to have to plug in, okay?
Okay. Please listen to this wonderful music while we wait.
Okay.
And Forget Me Not Paranormal says, thank you, Brian and Charles.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Uh-oh. We got the echo back.
Let me see if I can use my wireless.
All right. The Paranormal Nightcrawler says, Global United has partnered with these ghosts in developing some new stuff, especially using recordings of decibels above and below hearing range, in references that what may be positive or negative spirits.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right.
The echo is horrible.
I'm sorry.
All right, let's try that. No, but it's still horrible. Okay, I'll ask questions slowly, and you just fire away.
Okay.
So, what is one of your biggest and most favorite Bigfoot stories?
Oh, so many. I love the story behind the famous Roger Patterson, Bob Gimlin film of 1967. That's got to be one of my favorites. A lot of the story of Ape Canyon. Teddy Roosevelt wrote of a famous story where a trapper had told him that a Sasquatch had killed one of his partners. There's been stories of Davy Crockett killing a Sasquatch. Leif Erikson had seen a wild man, and this archetype of a wild man goes out through all history, and a lot of the Native American stories fascinate me. A lot of the tribes, they might have different names for it, but they all have the same type idea of a wild man. And it's just a lot of the Bigfoot lore and the history is just fascinating, I think.
Well, look who the cat drug in.
Hello.
What's up? How's it going, Charles?
Good. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm fabulous, man.
Excellent.
So where we at?
Oh, we are talking about Bigfoots. We're talking about paranormal. We're talking about UFOs. So Charles, where are some of the places here in Spokane that you enjoy doing your ITC work?
So one of my favorite spots is the Spokane Courthouse. They had a few hangings there, and it concerns the gentleman, or I shouldn't say gentleman, because apparently he was a pretty nasty guy, but Charles Baker. He killed Christine Dahlman, and they hung him there at the courthouse. And I love going there. I love going to the Davenport Hotel here in Spokane. That's always a fascinating place to go. And I do a lot of work in the cemeteries and get a lot of good responses there.
So if you had to pick out of all the cemeteries you've done in Spokane, what would be your favorite and why?
That's tough. Spokane's got a lot of good history and a lot of good things to investigate. But if I had to choose, it would probably be Greenwood Cemetery. And the reason would be the little girl and her ghost that haunts, I think it's the second, right across from Thousand Steps Cemetery there. Her ghost, the little girl, is supposedly haunts the cemetery.
Really?
Yes. And Greenwood also has a story of, supposedly that's where Charles Baker was buried, right beside the lady that he killed, Christine Dahlman. That's always a fascinating story to look into. And some of Spokane's founders are buried there, and some of their ghosts are supposedly active in the cemetery.
Do you remember the old tale about the Spokane City bus that stopped in front of the Greenwood Cemetery? and all of a sudden the bus dies, and about 12 people were on it, and saw a man carrying a shovel, a lantern, and overalls go from Greenwood to Riverside.
I do. I remember that quite well, actually.
What's your personal take on that?
I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, you would have to do a little investigation into it and see what kind of retellings of it you could find. But I wouldn't rule it out. I've heard it quite often, and there may be something to it.
Okay. Eldon.
What's up, man?
Fire away, brother.
Yeah. You know, you got the echo that's really irritating.
Yeah.
I'm gonna plug my headphones back in. I've got 22% on.
Perfect.
Oh, that's
All right. Let's see.
Now it's gone.
Look at that.
So, Charles, this
There
is
we
my
go.
co-founder and brother Eldon Mclnville. This is Charles Howard Johnson.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey,
Again.
thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
again.
man. Absolutely.
Yeah, you're an hour and 3 minutes late, butthole.
Hey, you know what? From what I saw, you were doing fabulous, man. I mean, I'll
Thank
a
you.
little bit.
Thank you.
It looks like you had everything handled real well, dude.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, we was talking with Jesse there at These Ghosts the other day, and there's question as to on recording whether you record at it. I guess the theory is that he's presenting is that audio that you pick up or vibrations you pick up on a lower frequency than what we can hear, or a lower decibel than humans can hear, is the nature of now, mind you, this is in theory, not something proven yet. I'd like to kind of get some study into this, but a lower frequency to the decibels we can hear is associated with negative spirits or negative energy, where higher frequencies than we can hear is associated with positive spirits and positive energy. I'd really like to get into figuring out how we can somehow put this to the test somehow. I don't know how we can do it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's the first time I heard it, and I'd really like to figure a way to be able to put that to the test and test it out in the field.
Well, it would be interesting to test it out, but Charles, what's your intake on that? What's your thought process, bud?
There may well be something to that. And for lack of a better term, in the new age yoga idea, you're always hearing raise your vibration.
Yeah.
So that's going towards a positive concept.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a pretty fascinating idea, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we can somehow measure the decibels that we're getting a EVP by, could we in fact determine whether we're actually dealing with something positive or negative?
Right.
Do you have yourself any wild theories about the paranormal, Charles?
Well, I'm open to a lot of different ideas, like going back to the flashlight test. Or even any of the other equipment. Maybe it's the people, the investigators, are so concentrated on the equipment that we're affecting it with our psychic abilities. I'm fascinated by the idea of remote viewing.
So, in your opinion, do you believe that paranormal investigators overlook the spirit's capability due to their technology and equipment?
A lot of times, yeah. I think the technology can be a good thing, but it also can get in the way of the actual communication.
Okay. Well, in your opinion, if money was no object and you had to pick 4 tools out of everything that's available nowadays, all the way back to the olden days, what 4 pieces of equipment would you prefer to use on a major investigation?
I would choose a digital recorder. I would choose a mag flashlight. I would choose the Ovilus 5. And I would choose, it's a new variation of the SLS, but it uses a mapping system of, I think that they got it from ground penetrating radar, but I've seen it a few times on TV. But that's pretty interesting, I think.
Now, me and you, we've done a couple of investigations where we have in fact used an SLS cam. We've used it in a cemetery and I believe a couple residentials. What's your personal opinion on the SLS cam? Do you believe that it's too on the fritz, or do you believe that it's spot on?
I think if you learn to use it correctly and are able to distinguish false positives, I think it's a valid tool to use. I would choose it.
You know, on the SLS camera, Brian, I know the one that I use. You do have to be very careful on that so it doesn't pick up false positives. We did an investigation down in Oracle, and it literally picked up a coat rack as a figure. So when you get something that's, either resembles that of a figure or human type shape, it will in fact pick that up as a figure.
Exactly.
Well, here's my question is, how can you decipher a false positive from an actual positive if you're in the investigating mode?
So what we do is, example, when you pick up an anomaly, and I'm going to use the coat rack, for instance, the anomaly won't move. It'll stay pretty much right where it's at.
Okay,
when you pick up an actual figure of something that's not there, it's going to move around a little bit. It's going to bounce around, and it's going to kind of, it's going to go everywhere. It's going to the anomaly or the stick figure that you're viewing, it's going to be going all over your screen for the most part. And
sometimes, not very often, but sometimes we'll have the SLS camera on, and we'll ask the spirits to appear. And sometimes a figure will appear upon request. And we try to position the camera where it's not picking up furniture or coat racks or anything like that.
Correct. Yeah.
The one time we did use the SLS cam, I'm sure you'll remember this one. We had that, we called them dancers because of their great maneuvering.
Right. Very active.
You were sitting in the chair by the kitchen. I was sitting on the couch smoking a cigarette. And about the same time you were about to say there was a spirit there, I told you that it was kind of getting cold where I was.
Yeah.
Would you call that a spot on capture, or would you call that a fluke?
I would say it was definitely interesting. I wouldn't write it off as a fluke at all. I mean, I don't think any of us really know are experts or whatever you want to call it. But for me, that's pretty fascinating anyway.
I must agree. Forget Me Not says that's a really interesting concept. Definitely worth researching. And we have a very interesting podcast, gentlemen. I got to run, but have an amazing rest of your weekend. You too, Forget Me Not Paranormal. Thank you for tuning in tonight. It's very much appreciated.
So, Brian, I'm down to 2%. I can either plug in and be very echoey, or I can let you carry on.
Well, sir, we'll go ahead and let you go for this evening then.
Okay.
Thank you once again for being a part of our podcast, Charles.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I would love to come back.
Most definitely, you will come back and do a round 2 with us, brother.
Excellent.
All right. You have yourself a great night, Charles, and we'll see you soon, buddy.
All right. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, Charles. Nice meeting you.
Good to meet you. I'll talk to you later.
All righty, buddy.
That guy is so fascinating. I love Charles.
Yeah, I was watching it there for a little bit as I could there, and I was finally able to kind of get to a point where I could get on here. But yeah, from what I heard, absolutely. I think this was a really good podcast you held here, Brian. Very good job, man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And before we go, ladies and gentlemen, sorry I'm not showing my face. I currently have an ice pack on my face, trying to cure the ugliness, just kidding. I unfortunately have an abscess on the left side of my face that is got me in excruciating pain. Honestly, today's been a really rough day. We won't get into that though. And I'm just relieved to be home, do the podcast, and be sitting here talking to my brothers.
Yeah, so Brian, we can't stress enough too, man. Parapost.com, parapost.net for Parapost Network. Man, he's got an excellent platform over there. If everybody can go check him out and give him some love over there. Sign up to it if you're not, man. He's got some good stuff over there. You can share your videos. You can view other videos. This is basically really a stress-free environment and drama-free platform that I think you're going to really enjoy to be a part of.
Not to mention over 30,000 views. And it's identical to Facebook. Like Eldon said, there is no drama whatsoever.
Mm.
If you're a paranormal enthusiast, if you're an investigator, a medium, whatever your deal is with the paranormal, please go sign up. You can download the app on the Google Play Store. It's the Parapost Network. It runs on Android. It runs on Apple. It runs on PC. And it is just a phenomenal site. And I think everybody on here will love it.
And again, check out theseghosts.com and use Global EQ for your promo code for a 10% off. Some pretty cool equipment over there. Jesse's got some pretty nice stuff, man. Give them a check out and get you some equipment over there.
Absolutely. We sponsor D's Ghost. They sponsor us. He's the real deal. He knows what he's doing. And the equipment is just mind-boggling. He has right now a mag flashlight that when you turn it on, it has a REM pod built into the flashlight. So if you're walking and all of a sudden your REM pod goes off, well, you're standing about 2 feet in front of a spirit. So you better be asking some questions.
Absolutely. All right, Brian. So you want to get to a point where we're wrapping this up or what, man?
Well, what I want to ask is, what do you call this?
That is the Museum Club in Flagstaff, Arizona, my man. We're going to be investigating that next weekend. Yep, that's the newer photo of it. The photo you have prior is the photo that's the older photo of that location. But we'll be investigating that next Friday.
And I don't want you guys to think that ShadowZone Paranormal is just for podcasts. We will be airing episodes on here. We will be airing footage. We will be airing findings, evidence. We're building our investigation for Paraflix right now. And, we're going to be doing some really phenomenal things. Even when I'm not in Arizona, I'm still working for the team. I'm doing as much advertising as I can until I get to Arizona, and then the superpowers will indeed unite.
Oh, it's going to be awesome, man. Going to be pretty cool.
It really is. And you guys and gals, boils and ghouls, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you could go and give us a like, subscribe to us, share us, that would be awesome. And, for everybody that likes and subscribes and shares our YouTube channel, please feel free to drop yours. We will subscribe. We will share. We're all in this together. So let's just try to grow one big community as one big happy family.
Outstanding, man. Sounds cool.
Well, all right, guys. For your host, Brian, my co-host Eldon, we're gonna call it a night. You guys stay fresh, stay funky like a monkey, and don't forget to have a ghoulish night, ladies and gentlemen.